So it's noon, and noon on a Saturday means we're gonna draw together, right? So I noticed that a lot of you are already here. It's wonderful. I see a lot of very familiar names and some names that I don't know, but you are from all over, and that's what we love, right? We're gonna draw together while we are, still confined and not going too loopy, hopefully. And please tell me one thing. As I draw today, I noticed that the last couple of times I've had comments about my voice getting a little too soft. So don't hesitate to tell me if I do that and if I start like mumbling as I get like so relaxed in my drawing. So please call me out on it and tell me, France, you need to speak up, and I'll be perfectly okay with that. So a lot of people are coming in. Hi, everyone. My goodness, I can't believe that we have all these continents represented already. This is great. This is awesome. So I'm using the same support as last week. I'm using my same, you know what, let me switch to this view, that way you'll see better. So I'm using my same sketchbook, which is a moleskin large, not extra large, but just, regular large moleskin. This is where I drew last week. Those of you who were with me, you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to use the next page, and as I do often, I'm going to use my clipboard in plastic, and I'm going to slide it under this page so that I get a really hard surface right underneath my page. Because one of the things that I don't like personally is starting a drawing and have my pen or my pencil start to dig into the softness of the sketchbook. Does that make sense? So that's how I'm doing it. It doesn't mean you have to draw in a sketchbook at all, but I find that if I limit myself in size, I might have a chance to finish. I might. I'm not going to guarantee that I will, but I might have a chance to finish. So I'm going to put a little clip on one side so that it holds it open on one. And here I am on my clipboard, and what I do is I use a little bit of washi tape as I did last week. Remember that last week I was using washi tape to keep it down so that I don't have to worry about it always, getting away from the clipboard. So a little piece at the top might damage the paper, but I don't really care. You know me by now. You know I'm not exhibiting my sketchbooks after this. This is purely for me, for the joy of drawing, and frankly for, the necessity to keep practicing in these weird times, right? So, oh my gosh, I'm just realizing that I have somebody from Kazakhstan. This is amazing. But I also have somebody from Montreal, and then Washington State, Sacramento. This is so cool. And I know I have people from France. Hein, vous êtes là, il fait beau en France aujourd'hui. That's good. Oh, I'm messing up my type. All right. This washi tape is a little tougher than it seems to use. But okay, I'm almost done. Look at the little bicycles there. This is what is going to secure my page on the clipboard. So take a look. See, I've got one at the top right there. I've got one on the side and one at the bottom. I wish I could show you. Yes, I can. Okay. So now my little page is secure on my hard clipboard, which is plastic. And oh my gosh, I've got some of my student Zach. Hey, student from French class from years ago. This is awesome. I love the fact that you just show up to say hi. This is great. Okay, so the muse today. I don't know. It's someone whose profile I got interested in. I have no idea who he is. I think his name is Jordan or something like this. Get it? Take a look at our muse. Our muse today is Jordan Melnick, everybody. You know who Jordan Melnick is? He is the reason why we're here. He is the founder of Sketchy. He is, le grand Manitou, as we would say in French. No, really, he is. He's the man. So I decided, because I wanted a profile for today, yeah, I really was eager to draw a profile, and I looked on Sketchy, and finally on Sketchy, after a while, I decided to type in, hashtag profile to find a profile. And this was one of the ones that popped. I really like the background. The face is well lit, but we don't have a tremendous amount of contrast, but we can play with this. I think it's going to look great. Hey, you're welcome, Jordan. I'm so happy that we had a good profile from you. Okay, now, are you ready, guys? Because I'm going to do, by the way, it looks like I'm wearing a blanket, which I kind of am. It's not a blanket, it's a scarf, but I'm cold. Um, okay, today, we're not going to draw in pen, and we're not really going to draw in pencil. I decided as I was digging through my old pencil case here that I have since, well, I've had it since 8th grade. Those of you from France probably know Tans, this brand of cartable and trousse and all that good stuff. And I found something that I really haven't used in a while, which is my blue pencil holder. So in here, this is a pencil, a lead holder. Let me just do this better here, this way. Okay, so this is a pencil holder, a lead holder. It's an 09, which means it's fairly thick, but not super thick. And in this, I have those. They are blue Pentel LEDs. And I don't know how lead-ish they are. They're because it's kind of waxier as a color, but they're O9s. And apparently, architects use these quite a bit. This is something I got from Liz Steele. They use this to make, their preliminary sketches and then draw over them. Also the idea of a blueprint, right? So blue lead, we're going to start with that. The blue lead is what I'm going to use to do my preliminary, my proportions in order not to get lost. And then I found that I have this old Cretacolor, it's one of those, it's this brand, no, Prismacolor, what am I saying? Prismacolor, okay. But this one is indigo blue, and this indigo blue is going to match this blue quite well, not exactly, it's actually going to be a little darker, but I'm going to draw with these two things today. Boom, blue. You realize what that means, right? I'm also using a blue eraser, but I doubt I will have any opportunity to erase because, frankly, erasing blue pencil is not really doable. But I'm going to keep it here just in case, and it happens to be blue. What can I say? It's a nice coincidence. So I don't think we're going to be able to erase. And I'm just seeing a comment about my students being online. Oh, this is great. So I'm going to start my, the beginning of my sketch like this with my pencil, my lead holder here. And then I'm going to move on and use this thing in order to make the broader strokes that are going to allow me to move a little faster, because I'm afraid that if I just use this the entire time, we're never going to finish. So Anna Jane, good question. I'm going to put up your question here on the screen. It's a regular colored pencil though, absolutely. So whether I'm using this lead that I have inside, which is the blue Pentel, okay, or whether I'm using the Prismacolor, which is blue indigo, and it's PC901 for those of you who might have a box of those. This is just regular blue colored pencil. So if you want to go with another brand, for example, Faber-Castell makes amazing colored pencils, go for it, okay? So there you go. Guys, I think I'm going to start. Are you ready? I'm not saying you should do exactly this, but I think it's an amazing way to practice being loose, knowing that we can't erase, that we're kind of going with the flow, whatever happens, right? Okay, so I'm about to start. Just so you know, though, on Sketchy, and you will see probably the code underneath this video, we are continuing this promo that we started last week and that we had until Sunday at midnight, which was, I believe it's France 40. I don't want to make any mistakes, but I believe that's what it is. Show more. Let me see. Yes, France 40. So for those of you who want to take this opportunity to grab 3 of my classes on Sketchy, you can have 40% off these 3 classes. So that's a really good deal. Instead of paying $30, you're paying 40% of that. So that's what we have going on with France 40, or France 40 if you prefer. Okay, are you guys ready? This could turn out entirely catastrophic. Okay, you realize that? I really don't know. I have not done this blue pencil thing in a long time. And hey, you know, if whatever happens, happens, okay? Come what may, or as we say in French, advienne que pourra, right? So are you ready? It's 12:11, which is usually about the time I start. I see that the topmost that I can draw is about here, and the bottommost looks like it's here. Okay, so which means my Jordan face should fit in that space. Okay, ready? All right. No, really, it might go it might go south. It might go in the wrong directions. Okay. All right. Oh, and thanks, Larry. Thanks for pointing this out. Exactly. One of the reasons to use the blue lead in the lead holder is that it does not copy well when scanned, hiding all their layout sketches. Thank you for the enlightenment. I knew there was a reason for the blue. All right, guys, so we have a profile. We have a face. The ear is not exactly halfway because Jordan's face is not, in fact, entirely turned this way. It's just a little bit turned that way. But what I like starting, just to loosen my hand, is I like starting with something round and loose and something that is going to give me some kind of direction. I don't want the nose to go much further than this, so I'm going to make this as my limit. And I'm going to decide that the forehead is going to be here. Head. Okay, back of the head. This could be changing at any given moment. And again, a lot of these marks are going to stay. It's going to be, are you ready? Very sketchy. But that's the idea, okay? I just want to get my marks right and get my bearings right. One thing that I find is very useful when you start a portrait is look at where your hairline is. This gives you very clear points as anchors to use. Okay, here and now. Can you actually see? Okay, let me lower this a tiny bit because I'm afraid that you're missing out. So it is a little light. Okay. Let me see. I had a question here. I don't want to miss some of your questions. Are you going to draw just the face or all the image? Okay, Giuseppe. I'm going to draw the face, absolutely. There might be a hint of neck, to tell you the truth. But what I'm going to be interested in conveying is the facial features, and maybe the hair will be a little more neglected. I really don't know. It all depends on how much I'll be able to fit on the paper. But my goal is to do the face, Giuseppe. Okay? All right. All right. Cynthia, Faber-Castell, Polychromos. I'm hearing very good things about those. Very good things about these indigo, about the colored pencils that Faber-Castell make. I don't have those. I have another type. But I'm using what I found in my little jar of colored pencils, frankly. Although right now I am just sticking to the lead holder. Okay, let's take a look at where that eyebrow is. It's right about here. Okay, I have a comment to make right away about resemblance. I'm never a huge fan of starting a portrait hoping for a great deal of resemblance. I'm more here to practice, I guess, it's like an instrument, right? It's to just not lose the flexibility, mental but also physical, and if resemblance happens, I think that's cake. Where I'm happy. Um, I don't know. I always have high hopes that resemblance kind of is a byproduct of my practice, my studies, but sometimes it doesn't happen. So I don't know. Maybe Jordan will end up looking like somebody entirely different. This is perfectly possible. All right, so always keeping track of where things are on horizontal lines. So, for example, as I'm deciding where the corner of his eye is going to be, I think that it corresponds roughly to where the top of the ear is. Do you agree with that? Right? So, let's go with that. And let's place this eyelid where I think it is. Something like this, right? And so you see the corner of the eye sort of matches the top of the ear, like that. And as you draw all this, keep track of your proportions. Like for example, it would be tempting to start drawing Jordan's features big. Like for example, watch the size of the eye compared to the rest of the face, and that's a tricky thing to do. I get sometimes into situations where I'm like, oh my gosh, the eyes are way too big, because we kind of get carried away on details. Okay. And absolutely. So, Gianluca, you're saying, does it help to use a ruler? Absolutely, it does. But I never do. I keep those lines. Either I draw them roughly, or I just keep them in my mind. But use a ruler if you want to. Absolutely, I think again, if you are more into going for the exact representation, I think the ruler is the way to go indeed. Yeah, I just have never used one in a drawing ever. Okay, there's a little bit of eyebrow on the other side. We're going to rework this eyebrow as we go a little darker. When I come back with my Prismacolor and fill this in, this is going to be much bolder. This is extremely light right now. Okay, can I move up a little bit? Okay. I tend to agree with this, that not using a ruler kind of exercises your eye, but I'm not one to tell you to do it one way or another at all. Okay. All right. Let's see. Uh, Jean-Pierre, I have no idea what these are. Loomis or Riley? I don't know what they are. Guys, keep in mind that a lot of these things are not very well known to me, because I don't know what, I don't know what, I just was never trained. So I wish I knew them. All right, are you ready? The nose. Oh, the nose is tricky because the nose cannot be too big. And again, keeping in mind how it fits with the ear. Actually, the ear here is going to help me define how big the nose is going to be. Okay. How are we doing, everybody? Okay? Yes? So are you using colored pencils as well? Have you decided? Or do some of you use Procreate today with the iPad? I was really tempted to do something on the iPad today, and I decided against it. Okay, so there's a line here at the end of Jordan's ear that is going to meet the end of his nose, and it's slanted roughly this way, I think. So that's where I'm going to put the end of Jordan's nose. But again, don't take my word quite for it yet. I'm gonna, yeah, I think it's a little more forward actually. Again, something I can get back to maybe a little later. Yeah. Yeah, it could be that I made the nose a little flatter than it actually is. And a little longer too. Let me see. Hold on. Let's pause here for a second. Okay. This may work. This may work. I don't know, Jordan. I think I just made your face suddenly a little longer than it is, but see how like extremely lightly I'm going on this nose because I really don't want to be able to, well, I actually would like to be able to erase a little bit. Let's see if I can. Yeah, not much. Tough luck. Not really. Figured. It's okay. Okay, is this your nose, Jordan? I don't know. Something like that. You know, I've never met Jordan in person. I only know Jordan from our chats, and we are in different parts of the country, so there's really we almost could have met in New York City a few years back when I was doing an event at the Apple store, but I don't know, it didn't happen. Okay. All right. Already I'm seeing something that I did that I'm not a big fan of. I made the nose just a tiny bit long. So if I can try to correct this here, I will. All right. So let's see. Okay, excellent, Jenny. I'm so glad that you are also using blue, but in Procreate. So why not, right? Okay. Yes, it is tricky. Robert Hendricks, very good question. Would I consider a class just for noses? That would be really an interesting thing to consider, I think, right? Would be really interesting. Okay, let's continue, shall we? I'm not saying this is right. In fact, I'm not seeing this going exactly in the direction that I want, but you know, let's see what I can achieve with what I have here. You know that I'm doing these live drawings, kind of hoping to challenge myself. You know, really keeping myself engaged in the drawing process on a regular basis, rather than being this person who teaches those lessons and doesn't really put in practice what they say. So I really like the fact that this is forcing me to also show up at the page. I'll be honest with you. This is very good for me. Okay. All right, all right, all right. Okay. And yes, John, I still draw cars, absolutely. And Jordan, you still okay? You trust me with your nose? Yeah, I don't know if I would if I were you, but I don't know where this is going. Oh, but it's relaxing. Like, I don't like that I made the mouth already a little too big, so I'm gonna try to go back. Oh, I don't know. Okay, why don't we? Okay, I'm gonna try to complete this line here so that I can sort of wrap up the jaw, because this is what I've been avoiding here, and I really have to do. Okay, this is gonna get a little hidden, but bear with me. Draw here. A little bit of facial hair. And now, guys, I'm really tempted to go and take my indigo colored pencils and try to now go into the thicker line. Okay. So, okay. Thank you, Jessica, for calling me out on the fact that my voice is getting hard to hear. Thanks. Okay. Um, it's hard to draw on a flat surface, as you guys have probably experienced too, because when we draw on a flat surface, which is what I'm doing, things tend to get distorted. Ideally, I should really stand and draw so that I look from above and I have a much better view of things that can be distorted otherwise. Okay. So now I'm tackling things, you know, with the side of my pencil. Okay. And here I'm just filling in very roughly. Maybe I'll go into more detail a little later. But I just want to have, this is very, very sketchy, obviously. And I'll get back to it a little later, okay? Oh. All right, here's the eyebrow on the other side. Look at this line, it's very faint, so I'm not going to stress this too much, but one thing I want to stress is the eyebrow because it's one of the dark spots on the face. It's kind of going flat this way. And some dark here. This is a small pencil. Did you notice that I don't have much left in it? It's so old. I wouldn't be surprised if I bought this pencil back in, let's see, maybe 2006, which is when I bought a lot of my drawing materials. I used to live not too far from an art supply store, and so I used to go there quite a bit, and I no longer live in that area, so I don't have access to art supplies as easily as I did back in '06. So yeah, this is old. It doesn't look like much right now, right? It's just you know, it's just building the dark spots, and then I'll come back and add more detail. There's some detail for you. Here is the eye. Jordan is looking in the other direction in this photo, which means that we don't really see the pupil in his eye, and that's perfectly fine as long as we try not to convey a pupil that is not there. You know, like don't let your brain decide what you see, okay? This beep is my dryer. I hope you guys didn't think it was some kind of fire alarm. Okay. All right, so we have this really stark line here going from the eye. I'm going to work on this a little better a little later. And come back maybe with a little bit of cross-hatching to make it look a little more subtle. That's the word I'm looking for. And by the way, I agree with this. I agree that living close to an art supply store is dangerous. Ask anyone who's ever been within a zip code of an art store. Yes. And you know, back in '06, again, I didn't live even in the same town, but it was accessible by car. And yeah, I used to go there quite a bit. It was a great little art store in New Jersey. It's still there. I hope they're doing okay. Okay, how are we doing, everybody? Yeah? Yes, laundry is almost done. The dryer is still spinning for whatever reason. I'm not sure why. But. Okay, so here we're going to tread lightly because we've got some areas with light, some areas with more contrast. See what I'm doing here? I'm just using the side of my pencil to reach that kind of compromise and still convey the volume of Jordan's face. You know, keep in mind that when you draw, you will always come back and add more depth. You know, it's not just, okay, I did this, now I'm done. I find myself always coming back and adding more and coming back and adding more. And that's just how you slowly build your drawing. Can you see what I'm doing all the way at the top there? A little bit. All right, let me get back to Jordan's nose. So now, oh, the nose actually like this. Did you notice that the blue is not exactly the same? I've got a little bit of a darker blue in my hand now than the quote-unquote blueprint blue that I was using, but it'll work. It'll work. Okay. I'm now going kind of carefully on this shadow area here. Is everybody drawing along? I hope so. I hope you guys are having an okay time doing this. We are at about the half-hour mark. And I'm going to try to get as much done as possible within that hour and 10 minutes if we can. Okay. Okay. My dryer rang, as you heard, but it's still going, so I'm not sure what it's trying to do or what it was trying to tell me earlier. But it stopped. Okay, here we go. Jeez, I'm confused. Okay. Here I'm just trying to follow where the dark spots are and where the light spots are. Okay, and just trying to make sure I make them look somewhat realistic. Again, I'll get back to some areas here. Just trying to establish where things are. I'm glad that you guys are drawing along. I like this. People, yes, there are people here. Okay, so Betty, you are using Eno blue pencil and polychrome. So the polychromes are the Faber-Castell, I believe. What is Eno blue? Is that the type of Faber-Castell? Maybe you can tell us a little bit about that. Okay. Okay. And yes, I did laundry this morning. I was up early. I went for a walk when nobody was around. I avoided everyone. I wore a mask and everything was fine. I really didn't see anybody, just a couple of people walking their dog. So yeah, it felt good to walk. Walking and drawing, really. I'm keeping my sanity with these two things. Okay. Jean-Pierre, you're just watching. I appreciate that. Oh, well, thanks. Okay. All right. I'm going to keep on moving because otherwise I'm going to, end up with a problem that I often have, which is I chat, and then the time is up and I've only got 30% of what I want. We don't want that today. I'm gonna try to move a little faster. This is very not only therapeutic for me to do this with you every week, but it also forces me to go at a pace that is a lot more challenging than what I I would usually go with. I would be perfectly happy spending 3 hours on a drawing if I could. But frankly, this forces me to loosen up and go a little faster. So, yeah. Oh, Emma Jane, you are using a versatile lead holder. Yes, I love those. I love those. Absolutely love those. Pentel versatile. These are all great. Okay. See, we're on the bottom lip here. I don't know how much of a resemblance I have here with Jordan, but Jordan will be the person who knows better. I find it, by the way, can I say this? I find it much harder to draw somebody that I know and that I've met than somebody that I've never met. Because somebody that I've never met, I've only seen pictures of. And what I have is what those pictures tell me, and that's it. But if I have met the person, I think my memory of having seen that person and having interacted with that person kind of interferes with the information that I have from the photo itself. Does that make sense? So for me, it's much easier to actually draw somebody who I only know through photos and maybe some video. Okay, so using the side here again, right? Yeah, you agree, Dana? You see what I'm talking about, right? So when we draw somebody that we know, that's why it was so hard for me to draw my mom all these years. She was usually asking me, "Hey, you should draw me," and I'm like, "Yeah, of course I should," but boy, did I find it challenging. And yeah, all right. So let's do the lip here. It's kind of dark. Did you notice? The upper lip is always darker than the bottom lip because it doesn't get the light. I hope I'm doing this somewhat right. Okay. Okay. Interesting, Sarah. I love knowing this, that you are using the same mechanical pencil but with red lead. Okay, for editing and Prismacolor Crimson Lake. I wonder if I have that. That would be really, really cool to do too one of these days. To do a red one, right? Okay. So remember, guys, that if you want to go to a sketchy shop, you can grab any 3 of my classes, whether you want to draw on paper, the more traditional way, like what we're doing right now, or whether you are tempted to stretch your knowledge of digital, or if you want to do 30 faces, 30 days from the beginning of the year that we did in January. All these are available. If you get 3, you get 40% off with the code France40. So take advantage of that. This will be until midnight on Sunday, which is tomorrow. Okay. All right, this is where things get a little intimidating sometimes with drawing a face. We're going to darken Jordan's face quite a bit, as if you notice, a whole portion of his face is not very lit compared to the edge, of his nose. And don't worry about the lip here. I'll get back to this a little later. But for now, I would like to just cover ground where it is that I see this shade. Okay, so we are on the cheek. But there's also a whole part of the eye here that I have not even addressed. Bear with me. This is coming together slowly. you know me. I was commenting recently on somebody's drawing from last week, which was really pretty spectacular in my opinion. And the person was saying, "Oh, I really didn't get the resemblance right." But the drawing was full of contrast and light and volume. It was really well done. And honestly, for me, capturing that is far more important than capturing resemblance. Now, mind you, of course, I wouldn't have totally ignored the features on Jordan's face today. That's not what I'm saying. Of course, I'm trying to draw Jordan. I'm not going to lie to you. But what I like about this photo is the light that I can translate and all these beautiful things that come through. Okay. Okay. I love the fact that I see languages being spoken in the comments that I have no idea, not only what they mean, but what the language is. Okay, you know me by now. You know that I'm not going to probably have much time to go into the hair. I am going to convey some dark in the hair, but I'm not going to insist too much. Did you notice also that I have not sharpened this pencil yet? I don't feel the need to at all. Okay. Going back to the eye a little bit. Okay. And this is where I noticed that when I come back to an area, I put a lot more pressure than I originally did when I was there to begin with. You know, that's what I'm doing now with a little bit of hatching. Not a lot, but, you know, a little. All right. It's so much fun to draw with a colored pencil. It's a really different feel because it doesn't slide the same way. Do you agree? It has a more waxy feel. So move the camera up. Is this better? Yeah? Stefan, is that what you meant? I hope so. Okay. All right, let me keep going. Trying to again build on top of layers that are already there. And did you notice that the line underneath the eye is very weak? And EJ, I cannot agree with you more. This hour is going insanely quickly. I am going to have to move a little faster here, guys. A little faster. Let's see. The lip. The bottom lip. Not great, but I think I can improve on this a little later, especially right here underneath. Yeah, something like this, okay. There's a lot more dark here than I originally thought, so I'm going to put a lot of pressure on my pencil to make this appear. You see what I'm doing? Okay. Also, guess where it's super dark, where I can even apply even more pressure? It's right there in the nostril. Okay. Okay. And I'm going to keep going for another layer, but then I don't want to forget the fact that I have a whole jaw here to deal with. Look at this. All I'm doing here is blending and blending and blending till I create some sort of shape. Okay? And Cindy, you are welcome. I'm so glad that you are drawing along and you are here and you feel like we're doing something that we're used to doing together, right? This isn't new for any of us. The little bit of facial hair here, you know, like right above the lip, um, you can just use a little bit of hatching and it feels like texture. Okay. See what I just did? There's a little bit of a mole here. Don't want to miss out on. Okay. I've been avoiding the bottom of Jordan's eye, but I can't anymore. I have to deal with it now. Can't pretend that it's not there. Mm-hmm. Looks about right. Okay. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, thank you. Good reminder that sometimes I need to get rid of the messages that I put on the screen. All right. I think this is one of my favorite areas of a face to draw. It's when we get to this part here and things are very contrasty and oh, it's so good, so good. And again, meeting the edge of the oh, I have a little bit of eyelashes here. Did you notice, guys, at the corner of Jordan's eye? Little eyelash, okay. Can't can't neglect that. Okay. Is everybody doing okay? It is going fast, it's crazy. You know, if I were to draw this by myself at home, as I told you, it would take me so much longer and I would give myself permission to hesitate over certain areas, whereas I really don't have that luxury here with you, and I kind of like that. I like the fact that I don't have that luxury. It kind of forces me to make decisions a little faster, um, and that's okay. Again, where there's facial hair, I like using the sharp tip. So you see what happened to my pencil now? Because I've been using the side quite a bit, it has almost sharpened itself, and I'm left with a fairly sharp tip. And what I can do now with this sharp tip is come back and create this um, illusion of facial hair, which does exist, by just cross hatching very, you know, randomly almost in the places where I think we can convey hair, where I see it. You see what I'm doing here? It's just a way to create detail without really drawing hair by hair, because you would drive yourself crazy if you did this. But this is something that you've seen me do quite a bit by now, is I put a layer of, you know, something very blended, and then I come back and I just add a little bit of cross hatching on top of it to create the texture. Okay? See that? So now suddenly there's a little bit of skin texture, but also hair texture to Jordan's face. Going back to the side. Again, did you notice that I have not sharpened this pencil? I have not felt the need to do that. There's no need when the pencil kind of sharpens itself as you go. You know how keen I am on showing marks of the pencil like this. it gets really dark underneath the jaw of Jordan's face. Oh my gosh, Dylan, you're here. This is great. Thank you for being here. And I absolutely love what you're doing with 30 Faces, 30 Days. Wow, that's so cool. Thank you for being here, Dylan. Also, Kathleen, I have a paper that is not really toothy, to tell you the truth. It's not very grainy. You know those sketchbook pages of moleskin? They're not very textury. Take a look. It doesn't grab. It doesn't grab much pencil, so to say. So if you want to convey dark, you really have to put a lot of pressure. Whereas if I had more texture, I would not have to apply as much pressure, if that makes any sense. Okay, so did you notice right now that the ear has been entirely neglected? I just suggested it with the shape going that way, but now I can kind of bring some of the hair around it, you know, the dark right around it, just so that it looks still as though there is an ear. And here I'm doing this to sort of mimic the texture of hair. You see this? Layer underneath. And then up and down this way to bring the hair in. And really I'm applying pressure here because this is a dark area on Jordan's head. Do you agree? The ear like this, bring in the hair very dark all the way to the edge of the ear. Okay, like this. Can you see? Yes? Okay. Okay. Really interesting to do something that you cannot erase. Okay, so here's the issue that I have when my pencil is so short, when the tip is so short. I don't have enough to really get a nice broad line, so I'm gonna put this in the pencil sharpener for a minute. Give me just a minute. All right. Yeah, just like that. Okay, I have a pencil sharpener on my desk. So you see now suddenly I have a lot more to play with. Okay. So glad you're here, Dylan, Sarah. Okay. Da, 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 da. Okay. So now I've got a broader side to play with. You see what's happening? And now I feel a lot more bold. But because we are drawing with not really a capacity to erase, not much at least, you have to leave out the areas of light. And that's what I'm doing. So basically what you see here is what I'm not drawing. I see a shadow here that I had totally neglected to convey. It's the shadow right underneath Jordan's nose. You see it here? Yeah, there it is. Okay. Interesting how things just reveal themselves as I draw. Goes to show that your eye, you know, sees things. The more you look at them, the more, you know, the more you're going to see them. Okay. Okay, blending again here, guys. Blending. Because this is actually darker than I originally thought. So I'm bringing in a lot more pressure on this cheek. I was going to say jaw. In order to convey the volume of his face. Okay, you see how the volume appears the moment that you put a little pressure on one side? Oh, yes, Dana, I need to speak up. Thank you. And Cindy, will this be saved? Indeed. So if you feel behind and you didn't get a chance to see this whole video, no problem, because you can replay it as much as you want. You can revisit it in chunks of time. You don't have to do it all in 1 hour either if you can't. So don't hesitate to rewatch it later. So this actually is getting recorded as we speak, and we will save it on YouTube, okay? And you can revisit as much as you want. Okay. All right. Oh, wow, my goodness. We've almost been there for 1 hour. Or rather, we've been there for almost an hour, if that was, English. If my English was a little more correct on this one. Okay. So, yes. So this is what Sketchy is telling us. You can rewatch with the same URL later. Okay? Right. Ears are really not hard because you can draw an approximate ear and still make it look like an ear. Does that make sense? And still make the person look like who they are. So don't stress over the ear. Just bring in the shapes, and an ear will eventually happen. See here, I'm just suggesting a little bit of ear. I'm not even going very seriously into all the detail of Jordan's ear. Okay, but I do want to wrap this up here. There's not much of a sideburn, but I do want to show where it ends. Again, remember how I did it with the hair? Kind of went like this. Okay. Okay. Okay, great. So glad that you guys are still drawing along, even if it was the first time that you've done this with us. I know for some of you, you've been here so many times already, drawing along with me. I love it. I'm not going to be able to do much more in terms of hair, so I'm just going to not ignore the hair, but I think you can still draw a very good portrait without having to go too far into the hair. Look at what I'm doing now. I am going to add a little bit of marks in the cheek here, which is really what makes it look like a pencil drawing. I have a class in Sketchy called cross-hatching. If you really want to go to town and dig in, this is one of those classes that are discounted right now, 40% off if you buy 3, if you get 3 of them. You can have a chance to explore cross-hatching. That's one of them. And while this is not properly cross-hatching because I'm hatching in one direction, I sometimes come back and add another direction this way, maybe a little bit that way, because I'm in an area that has volume, it's curved, and I want to convey that. But not too much, I don't want to go too crazy. Oh, thank you. So yeah, this is the cross-hatching class that we have on Sketchy. Ooh. I absolutely love doing that cross-hatching class. It was so much fun. Starting with a potato. Yeah. So again, if you want to take cross-hatching, you want to take any one of my classes, right? And I know some of you have already, and it's so nice that you've been with me all along and being so supportive. Some of you who are new, You can take any 3 of my classes at Sketchy for 40% off with the code France40 or France40 if you prefer. And you can just dig in. If you would rather draw eyes, you have the option of learning that with me if you want. If you would rather draw, the basics of the face, that's also another one. I have several, I believe 9 classes at Sketchy to choose from. So you can go ahead if you have some time to spare in these days of insanity. You can take advantage of that. Okay. All right. Okay, I am going to close this off just a tiny bit here. There we go. And here adding just a little bit of hatching. Sorry, I'm speaking softly again. I realize that. I realize that that's what I do. Okay, so let me point out something to you. I don't know if you can see it. That my construction lines are still there. They haven't disappeared. I'm just, going, I just left them there. There's a lot of construction lines here too that have just stayed. And I'm okay with that because, again, I'm not here to show this in a museum. I'm here to learn. I'm here to see what I can do better each day that I draw. And, which leads me to this very strong belief that I have that this is really not about talent. This is not, this is a skill. It's not a gift. It's something that I've honed, just like playing guitar, even though you wouldn't want to hear me play guitar, because I'm not that great. But this is just practice and practice and practice. There's no magic, there's no gift, there's no talent. The only possible talent that I might accept that I have is the fact that I do love spending hours drawing. So, yeah. Dana, you think I did? You think I nailed Jordan's likeness? You think we're close? I hope we are. I mean, really, it's wild, right, to draw somebody who we are so familiar with and yet never met in person. And it's not very likely these days that I'm going to meet you in person, Jordan, right? But yeah, something came out of this, right? Oh, did not do the bottom of the ear. Jeez, maman, as my daughter would say. Maman. I'm going to suggest the back of the hair a little bit, but I'm not going to go into great detail. See what I'm doing? Just a tiny bit here and leaving it very, very sketchy, okay? So, yeah. Thank you, Dylan. Oh my gosh. Guys, what is this? Can somebody tell me what's happening here? A little kiss for you? Like, what, are we being spammed? Like, really? Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm glad you're here, but I don't need a kiss, thank you. Certainly not these days. Thank you very much. Okay. Um, okay. Yes, we will meet soon. Okay. Esther, it's interesting. So you think that your Jordan doesn't look like your Jordan? Remember that after this, we head off to Sketchy Art School and we actually post and we look at each other's work because that's the fun. Last week, I had so much response, so much response. It was really beautiful, really. Yeah, yeah, Judith, I'm with you. No kisses. I'll be okay without them right now. Thank you very much. I don't know who these people are who are, who want to kiss. I'm like, no. No, we're not doing this here. We're drawing. We're gonna keep kissing for some other time or other activity. All right. So again, with a very unfinished ear, I think we still were able to convey a face, right? Do you agree? All right. Thank you, Jessica. I really appreciate what you're saying because for me, it's, um, I'll be honest, I'm doing this for me as well. Like the fact that for the past few Saturdays, we've been showing up at this particular place where we draw together. And honestly, it forces me to grab instruments that I sometimes would not go for, like a colored pencil. My gosh, I have not drawn in a colored pencil in a long time, but I'm using this opportunity to kind of challenge myself a little bit, and I love it. And I love the fact that you guys are doing this with me because it motivates me to keep at it. So I'm glad, really glad. Okay, and now I'm going to point this one out. I've gotten, how many of these have we gotten? Mobile Legend Official. I am a Filipino. I have no idea what these people are asking. But again, that's assuming that they're people and not bots. So I don't know. So I'm just going to ignore it. What do you say, guys? Right? Okay. All right. So let me ask you guys. It's 1:10, which means that I have now been drawing for the past hour, right? And I'm going to end here. I'm going to say goodbye in a minute. I would like you to tell me, do we have a Jordan here? I think we do, right? Roughly. And are we ready to post? Do you remember that we go to Sketchy Art School? We go to Drawing with Friends, which is the group, and we post there. So you enter the group, you don't have to pay anything to be part of the group. You just post in the group, and then I see what you did, which is really, I mean, this is fun, but seeing what you did at the end of this hour is this is it for me. Like I really get a lot of satisfaction out of this. Okay, so ooh, interesting that maybe I needed more fill at the top of the eye. Thank you so much for your advice because I otherwise I wouldn't have seen it by myself. I'm glad that you guys are giving me pointers about how to, how to draw. That's really positive. Thank you. I appreciate your feedback. Okay, so are you guys ready to say goodbye? And yeah, you think we have you think we have a Jordan? Yeah, I think I'm gonna send Jordan this page out of my sketchbook. Jordan, would you like that? Just this page out of my sketchbook, and then you can fold it in two or three and just put it under a piece of furniture so it's not too wobbly. At least it would serve a purpose, right? Okay. Oh, okay. So, are you guys ready to say goodbye? We are going to leave it at this. I'm going to pull back a little bit with the camera so that you guys can see. Oh, I really didn't mean to do this. Sorry about that. Okay, here we go. So if I pull back with the camera, you can see a more, distant view of the drawing that I just did today. There he is. There's Jordan. And as you can see, very unfinished towards the back, very unfinished here. But that's what I do in 1 hour. Okay, so are you guys ready? Oh my gosh, I love the fact that you say this, Marianne, that yours looks a little bit like Serge Gainsbourg. I want to see that. Please post. Please come to Sketchy Art School to Drawing with France, the group. Post your drawing. I'm going to take a picture of mine just about now. And okay, let's Let's see if I can get this done, right? Okay, remember I do this every time, right? Un, deux, trois. There, I took a photo. So now all I have to do is post it. Hopefully it will let me, because last week I had some problems trying to post my drawing on Sketchy Art School. Okay, guys, thank you for being here. I can't believe how many of you are here. I have over 730 people at this point. It's so wild. I'm so glad that you're here. You know we're doing this again next week, right? We are doing this again the week after, and hopefully you can join me again as well. So for now, I'm going to bid you farewell, at least until next week, okay? And have a great week. Draw some more. If you want, you can interpret this drawing in other ways, maybe in other media, if you want to use pen. You have tons of options. Jenny drew on her iPad today. I would be tempted to do this on the iPad too. All right, everyone, I'm going to sign off and I will see you next week. I am off to Sketchy Art School to post. Please post yours as well. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, everyone, I'll see you soon. Ciao. Have a great week. See you next.